Pelicans in a win. Luka afterwards with Izzy.
Luka, you mentioned before the game that you weren't that thrilled with your three-point shooting, and yet when it matters, you step back and hit that big three in overtime. How confident are you in those situations?
Yeah, I mean, this year I wasn't great in those situations, but I'm always confident. My teammates helped me down the stretch. I think we did a great job, everybody, and I think we deserve this win.
First time facing Zion Williamson in between Kleber and KP, you had double-figure blocks. How ready were you guys for that physicality?
Man, those two were playing something incredible difference. Zion is an amazing player. He's going to have a great future. And, he was really tough. We had our matchups, really studied on Zion, obviously. But they did a great job.
And you got 34 points from KP. That's 4 straight 20 and 10 games from him. What do you see from him as he continues to go through the season?
Oh, he's an amazing player. You don't see every day plays like this. There's a couple, him, Anthony Davis, and he's going to be an amazing player.
Thank you, Luka.
It took it 5 extra minutes to get there, but who's going to quibble over Doncic with the 22nd career triple-double, which breaks the tie with Jason Kidd for the most in Mavericks history. I get a kick out of it talking about the young guy and how he's going to have a good career, talking about Zion. You're 21, my man. Just turned 21. 400 fewer games to get there. Michael Finley in third place down at 6. By the way, we'll hear his name a little bit later in the One Big Thing. Tim Legler's alongside, and man, as you and I were talking, listening here, we were going to go in a lot of different directions. And how much young talent on the floor today?
I wish I had about 15 minutes, honestly, to talk about all the talent I just watched. You're talking about 5 guys, 24 and under. Porzingis is the oldest of that group at 24 years old. And, I mean, what he has done and what he has done to his game and the strength he added in the offseason, Scott, has now changed my mind on Kristaps Porzingis as a viable number 2 player that can contend. Maybe not this year. I still think they need more on their roster. But I do think you can eventually contend for a title if you've got these 2 guys at the top of your roster.
All right, I was going to wait to get to Porzingis, but since you got to him there, I mean, it's another 30-10 game for the 2 of them, right?
Yes, and again, it's the physicality he plays with now. He in this game, he had situations where he's going one-on-one against smaller guys, getting to an 18-foot pull-up. You saw the step-back 3 that you talked about where he broad jumped backwards about 8 feet and shot a 30-footer. He posted up tonight and took a lot of contact in his kidney area, which used to drive him out to the three-point line, and he'd become a small forward for the rest of the game. That's not this Kristaps Porzingis. And he's actually looks like he's leaned up as the season's going on. At the beginning of the year, he was jacked. He's lost some of that, but the fact that he put that much time in and working on his body so he can maintain balance, he is now a viable guy every night to get you 20 to 30, which is what your number 2 needs to be if you want to be a contender. And that's why I say he's changed my mind. He's doing it every night now. Player of the month in February in the West for a very good reason.
And let's talk about the number 1. Luka, at times, especially late, he wasn't maybe laboring as much as Zion in the second of a back-to-back was, but you could see him really trying to catch his breath. And yet, even if he was fatigued, that's what he had in the tank late. Where do you go with what you're seeing from him?
Yeah, I mean, the way he processes the floor in important moments, he slows everything down when the game's on the line. And they put it in his hands and they trust him because he's going to beat you multiple ways. Like, he can get to the rim and finish himself. He's a much stronger finisher than his body type even really says. Obviously, he's got the shooting touch in the range. You saw the step-back 3. That's like his go-to signature shot when he wants to end things. But then, obviously, the way he can pick you apart with his vision. So when you put the ball in the hands of a guy that can beat you 3 different ways late in the game, he doesn't really seem to be affected by pressure. He plays at his pace. You can't speed him up. He does what he wants to do. Special, obviously. Special talent, transcendent talent. Will they get enough talent around him? I was wondering if Porzingis was going to be that guy. He's convinced me over the second half of the season. He absolutely is good enough to be a guy that could be your number 2 and maybe play in the finals one day. But again, they need more help on their roster. Another really good wing scorer. And now you've got something really special on this team.
All right, sit tight. We'll have more from you in just a moment. And with one more bucket, by the way, it could have been us talking about Ingram, Zion, and
Lonzo Ball's shot
How about
improvement.
It?
It's
my shooter.
incredible
My shooter
to watch it.
Yeah, he's turning things around.
Proud of the kid.
Yeah, you should be. He's working hard at it. All right, we're down in Florida. We've got the Florida Turnpike battle between Aaron Gordon and Derrick Jones. A couple of slam dunkers. And that's a 2 from Jones. Let's go for 3 because that's really what this night was about. Duncan Robinson, speaking of shooters, how about 9 threes in the game? Which means he's now tied for second in Heat history for threes in a season with 225. We got some time to add to that. Late, it's a 5-point game. Jimmy Butler probes, kicks to Jay Crowder. Franchise record 22 triples in the ball game, but they needed every bit of that because Orlando was fighting in this. Terrence Ross, who had 35, and it's a 5-point game. Late, Aaron Gordon did not get the Melly three, and as a result, Spo and the Heat survived to grab victory number 40 on the season. Of course, on Monday, you'll recall, they beat the Bucks. Bucks hosting the Pacers, haven't lost consecutive games in the regular season since March 2nd and 4th, a full calendar year ago. They were certain not to let that happen again. They were out early and rolling against Indiana. Giannis with a Euro step and the left-hand finish. Let's run again. That must just be terrifying when he's got it and you're running back. You're just like, man, don't make it quick. You know what I mean? He finishes on the alley-oop there from Bledsoe. Here off the miss. After Indiana, to their credit, from down 22, fought back to make it a close game, but then Giannis, he knows he's missing. I'll get it and I'll dunk. 15 at the half. That was a game high, and the Bucks only led by 2. Again, credit to the Pacers for absorbing those body blows early. But again, Giannis running. This time he shares the wealth to Chris Middleton. Next Bucks possession. Again, it's Giannis. He draws everybody's attention. Middleton hits the three. He had 20 points and 8 rebounds in the game. Giannis, good look back door. It's Bledsoe. Bucks up 13 after the free throw, and they don't look back. Another one of those nights where Giannis can sit, kind of load management in a sense, because he only plays 28 minutes out of the break. Woo! He goes for 29, 12, 6 assists. Again, under 30 minutes in the ball game. So with an eye on 70, if that's something they think it's worth the energy to pursue, 17-3 is the record that gets them there. They still got 13 games left against teams who are currently holding playoff spots. ESPN's BPI favors the Bucks in 19 of 20 of those games. All right, Legs, given that the Bucks right now represent that, right?
Yeah,
the prism that we're viewing everything through. And I feel like we've talked about Toronto against them, maybe Boston against them. Miami just beat them. 22 threes in this game. How does that, if at all, represent a threat to the Bucks, what Miami does?
I think stylistically, a couple of things that they do. First, you've got to make a lot of threes when you play Milwaukee, and Milwaukee will load up on the paint. I mean, this is a team that's got great length on the front line. They're going to protect the rim, which means they're going to give up three-point shots. Well, Miami, second in league in percentage, 7th in makes. So they let it fly, and they make it at a high percentage. And so you're playing the Milwaukee Bucks, and you play smaller lineups, and you can move that thing around the perimeter and attack them with dribble drive kickouts to that many guys that can shoot, that's a problem. They've beaten them twice. Now, the first one was the second game of the year. I mean, that could happen right out of the gate. Who knows how you're playing. But they got them the other night, and that 3-2 zone really affected Milwaukee, and that's the second element they bring. They play more zone than any team in the league. That is something you can use to bottle up a guy like Giannis. So, look, would I pick them to beat the Bucks? Not necessarily. But, look, Toronto, Boston, and now Miami's in that mix. Those three teams look at each other in the eye. One of them is going to have to separate. If you can avoid Milwaukee in the second round and get them, if you could finish in that 2-3 spot and you can get them in the conference finals, Miami's a team that is very dangerous because of the way they shoot the basketball.
But again, the Bucks still represent the team we're trying to figure out who is a threat to you. And right now, they do sort of seem like they're on the a level above everyone else. Tim, appreciate you.
Thanks, Scott.
When we continue, the race for 8 in the West. That's a tough loss for the Pelicans, especially if the teams in front of them are winning. And on this Wednesday night, they were. Are the bench mobs having fun? 61 bench points. And Ja and the Grizzlies with a monstrous victory. Here's the significance of yet another 30-plus point road win. It's 2 consecutive wins by 39, so a plus 79 in consecutive road games. The Grizzlies are just the 3rd team in NBA history to win back-to-back road games by 35. They joined the 2007 Spurs and the 1970 Knicks. Both of those teams won the NBA Finals. Daily wager bonus, like you take a flyer on Memphis 500-1, Steve.
Yeah, bank it.
There you go. They're winning. We're not projecting. All right, the Trailblazers and the Wizards. Dame Lillard back, hadn't played a game since the 12th. Not surprisingly, the Blazers went 2-4 in his absence. That was the 12th of February. And it was Dame time. Steve, I like these jerseys as well.
Rip City.
Like them a lot. There are many other jerseys I don't like. I like these.
You don't like a lot of things, that's for sure.
What I like a lot.
Documented.
I like the fact that